The Hulk wants us all to go green. I'm Brian Lilley with TheRebel.media. Have you heard the Hulk? Mark Ruffalo, or the actor that plays the Hulk anyway, wants us all to go green. He wants us to drop fossil fuels completely, not in the future. He wants us to do it now. See, I got an email from Ruffalo, not because we're tight. I've never actually met him. Seen lots of his movies, but I've never met him. But I got an email because Ruffalo decided to partner with the far left-wing group Avaaz. Now, if you've been paying attention for a long time, then you know that Avaaz is a front group funded by George Soros' money. George Soros, the far-left billionaire hedge fund manager who didn't pay as much in taxes as he should have, but wants the rest of us to pay lots in taxes. Well, yeah, his front group, Avaaz, the same one that tried to stop Sun News Network from going on the air even before we'd started, even though they're based in Manhattan, they've partnered with Ruffalo to try and demand climate action now. So Ruffalo sent out an email the other day through Avaaz to their millions of so-called supporters. They're essentially people that have signed on to a petition at least once from the group. And it reads, "Dear friends, two scientists on a mission to measure climate change in the Arctic drowned because the very ice they went to measure was too thin to hold them. From the melting Arctic to drought-stricken California, we can't wait another minute to act on climate change." Never mind the fact that Arctic sea ice is actually expanding. Never mind the fact that you can't link the drought in California to global warming, as they keep trying to do. It doesn't matter. Just state it as if it's fact and move on. The email continues, "We're days away from the international G7 summit where Germany's Angela Merkel could cave into pressure from Canada and Japan and settle for a deadly climate compromise that we wait until 2100 to get off fossil fuels, even though they all know that gives us a 66% chance of avoiding climate catastrophe." Climate catastrophe. Would this be the same climate catastrophe predicted by the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the one that has said for the last several years that there hasn't been any warming since 1998? It's right in their report, a hiatus since 1998 in warming. Those are the people we have to listen to? The ones still saying, even though there's been no warming since 98, the hiatus, as long as the warming period, that we've got to suddenly change everything? Yes, that's what Ruffalo is saying. Now, this is a man who is also a bit of a 9/11 truther. He's given interviews more than once to 9/11 truther magazines that promote the idea that, well, planes flying into the World Trade Center couldn't possibly have brought down those buildings. Now, Ruffalo is a bit of an extremist, a bit of a radical, to say the least. But let me ask you this. On the climate issue, do you think he actually lives up to what he preaches? The answer is no. As I said, I've seen many of his movies. The latest one was Avengers, Age of Ultron. If you haven't seen this movie, it is a fantastic popcorn flick. This is the type of movie that you take a teenage boy to and they just sit spellbound on the screen as all the action takes them away, takes them around the world. Yes, around the world, because that's where the movie was shot. Now, Ruffalo lives in Manhattan, and of course he has a place upstate to escape to that I'm sure he must cycle to for hours and hours at a time. But for the Avengers Age of Ultron, he traveled around the world. Now, the movie was primarily shot at Shepperton Studios in Surrey, England, but they also filmed in Italy, South Korea, Bangladesh, New York, and various locations in and around England itself. I looked up some other movies that Ruffalo is involved with. Spotlight. This is a movie that is yet to come out. It's in post-production right now. Filming began in September 2014 in Boston, but continued in October in Hamilton, Ontario. I doubt he walked there. I doubt he bicycled. He's flying around the world. The movie Now You See Me, the second act, this is a movie that is in the middle of shooting right now. It's being filmed in London, England, but also in Macau and on China's mainland. Again, flying around the world telling the rest of us to get off climate. And then Now You See Me, the first one, came out a couple of years ago. That was filmed in New York City, where Ruffalo lives, but also in Los Angeles, meaning you have to fly to the other side of the United States of America. That's just a taste of his hypocrisy. There's more to come on this. The point is, we shouldn't be listening to people like Mark Ruffalo when it comes to dealing with something as serious as reorganizing our entire society on faulty climate science. We shouldn't be listening to him at all. Not on this issue. So to the leaders of the G7, stick to your guns, stick to the facts, stick to what you know is right. And as far as Ruffalo, well, I hope he continues acting because his movies are fantastic.